So my name is Cyrus. I am the VP of Information Technology. I am the person who is responsible for the technology fabric. That's the development, the integrations, keeping the technology secure at Cidel. I've been with Cidel for 24 years now. And so I've seen it grown from a small enterprise, a small shop, into a much bigger shop that we have right now. So first of all, we've been using Olympic for just about 6 years now, 5.6 years. And when we first encountered Olympic, we had just acquired another company. And we were in the process of trying to merge operations, which was a tremendous job. Different cultures, different operations, different technologies, different systems. And we realized that in order for our business to grow, we needed to have consistency and we needed to have integration. And the ERI team were able to demonstrate that their system, Olympic, brought those key elements to the table. How have we grown? Well, from 6 years ago to now, we said we have more clients. Our business is not retail banking, so it's not about headcount. It's more about quality and being able to deliver on our promises. And I think that if I thought of two key areas where we've certainly seen volume in terms of activity within the system, FX trading, I think, because we have implemented a straight-through processing. That's been tremendous in terms of being able to actually execute, especially on the institutional client demands. And then corporate actions. There are a suite of services that we offer, and those services are supported by numerous bits of functionality within Olympic and a few bits outside of Olympic. And having a system that's integrated means that you can be more efficient, you save costs, it's more secure, and ultimately we're able to deliver on the promises that we have committed to. It doesn't make my job per se easier because I'm in IT, but because we support the business, what I would say is, again, I'll use the example of straight-through processing. It allows a user to be able to create inputs in multiple ways. So it could be on a spreadsheet, it could be a file from a provider, or manually entered. And then once that's in, you sort of have a single point of entry, and then the data is transposed and flows through the system right out to the end where we are generating Swift messages or going on to an external party. And previously, those bits and pieces were done in a manual way. And manual operations introduce risks. They're error prone. Not clients, but rather staff get tired. So what Olympic has been able to do is allow us to have consistency. By having the integration, it allows things to actually flow persistently through. And staff are less encumbered with the tedium of some of the process that they had to do manually before, and allows them to focus on the things that are truly important that human beings need to actually focus and make decisions on. A few of our examples would be regulatory reporting. We operate in a highly regulated environment, and because we also operate in many jurisdictions, we have many masters that we have to serve. And regulatory reporting is a key area. Again, was highly manually done before, and Olympic has actually brought a sort of a ease of doing that somewhat, being able to essentially just export the data on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, because we have very tight deadlines to meet, and that maintains a good relationship with our regulators. We also have client reporting. Client reporting, we have very complex statements. They're very pretty, and people don't appreciate what is involved in the back end of putting together all of that data that comes from different components within the Olympic system. But I think Olympic does a pretty tremendous job in being able to bring that data together, whether it's performance, whether it's transactional activity, data on the client and presents it in a sophisticated manner to the client. It's what you would expect to see as a representation of your holdings, of your account, of your activity through a period. The last thing I would mention, which is something that tends to encumber companies such as ourselves in the financial industry, would be that of compliance. Because we have so many risks now in the world, we find ourselves with every transaction having to be vetted. Where's the money coming from? Where is it going to? Who's the beneficiary? Who's the sender? And we've been able to embed a lot of those fundamental checks into the workflows. So instead of having a manual process or a process that is a bit ad hoc, where someone has to inject themselves into it midway, do a check, and then pass it on, we've been able to have that sort of process be fully automated, where it can call up to a provider, check to see, who's the money going to, do a background check, and pass that. And what that means then is, from a regulatory standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, we are able to meet the global standards that are continually changing to ensure that we do have the necessary checks and balances in place, and providing then things like 4I's approval and what's not, to make sure that someone, where it's necessary because of a threshold, they can check it, but it's easy and it passes along. So Cidel has always been a company that looked at technology as a strategic arm, a component, a way of getting things done, being good at it. And that has married well with our philosophy of being client-driven. I think there are a lot of companies that say they're client-driven. I can tell you that the DNA that we have is very much about the client. And if we make a promise to a client, we go beyond to actually deliver on that. And that moves right through the operation of the various departments, right through to IT. And I would say that because we're technology focused as well as client focused, the Olympic system was, that was something that was key when we were actually selecting the system. And, it's been a journey getting from where we were to where we are right now. Some bumps along the way, but I think that the Olympic system has allowed us to deliver a user experience that is reliable and consistent and for the most part pleasing to clients. We mentioned the client statement. That's pretty sophisticated, and the magic of technology is when it works, when you don't have to understand the mechanics behind it, and that's what we try to hide and shield our clients from. But we also have the web experience, being able to log in, and unlike retail banking, when someone's just looking at their single account, in our world, you could have an individual, it could be a joint, it could be family, institutional, and these different types of complexities across the various jurisdictions, various legal entities, it does provide challenges that typical systems would not be able to handle. You could imagine if you had 4 relationships, and that meant having 4 relationship providers, 4 different logins. It becomes very confusing, very complex. So we spend a lot of our time trying to ensure that a client has a singular experience, one login. They can see as much as they can within that login. It consolidates their various views and activities across their various accounts into one login. And Olympic has been able to allow us to do that in a pretty decent fashion.